which means it's time for Trustless Degens. Oh, yeah. Trustless Degens is the once a week show, or it's our little podcast setting, I should say, really. But on this Wednesday show where we get the Trustless Degens together, this is when we discuss all things Web3, blockchain, basically insert buzzword about said crypto technology here, and you've got the right answer. Today we're joined by the Infinite, who's a co-founder of Money Match Gaming. We also have Rex Satoshi.
What's going on now?
Regular host, and myself, L Smurf,
the one and only.
Yeah, L if you get me. Maybe not. All right. What is our first topic? Well, first, before we go into topics today, how are you gentlemen doing? I feel like we've been assessing the water these last few weeks before we go into topics. So how are you gentlemen doing? How are people feeling about the market? I know Infinite. I don't know if you're like as in tuned. I don't know. I feel like the Infinite is our resident normie today. So let's give him a hand for one. But that's good normie insight that we don't normally have. So how are you guys doing?
If we're going straight, how am I doing, or how do I think about the markets?
We want both. How are you feeling? Both. And then even if it doesn't affect you, let's say it affects you. And how are you feeling about the market?
Okay. All right. Let's go for it. So in general, I think I'm all right. I think the last few years, because I'm gonna culminate it all into one. It's like the common thing that I say to everybody is like, man, it's getting weird, and then it's like it just keeps getting weirder and weirder. That's like the easiest way to put it. And that's generally how I feel. Like everything's great, but also at the same time, it's like, you kind of just wait for the world to kind of settle down, feel normal, but it just feels super far removed from that. As far as the markets, I typically don't go as in detailed and read as many articles about crypto and things like that, but I will watch, a few podcasts about the general market, the stock market, and so on and so forth. And it feels kind of a little trippy, in the sense that it's like, you got a bunch of people trying to pump the market. And a bunch of people are like, hey, we're going to destroy the markets. If we do that, we should probably slow down a little bit, reassess, get rid of all the bad garbage, and then move forward. But, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Like, it's just the energy, And so it's like, that's generally how I feel about the markets is I'm seeing trouble. I'm expecting trouble. And we'll see if it gets as bad as everybody keeps saying it is.
He's got his umbrella out, y'all. But I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and as I saw on a TikTok the other day, somebody called out this woman who was trying to act like she's from here. She's like, "Oh, it's that season. Get your umbrellas out and your raincoats." And this guy was like, "We have an imposter." No one in the Pacific Northwest uses an umbrella, and it's fact. It's fact. You just walk around and you're like, yeah, it's a little drizzle out, but like, ain't nobody, no umbrellas, really. Oh, tourist over there. Cool.
I will say though, on last week's talk, we talked about a possible pump, the Christmas rally, and I was at the mall, kind of at a comedy show, support my wife and the military and so on and so forth. They had like a free comedy show for them and stuff, so I went with her, and I was at the mall, and there was a lot of people shopping. I will say that. There was like a lot of people. Just
we say even if they're
roaming the streets. Yeah, and I was like, I guess the rally's coming. Like, so there's that. But I'm still a little doom and gloom. And I'll leave it at that. Take us away.
Okay.
I think that we got some pretty interesting news from that meeting that happened today. I think that people still
hold up, Satoshi. You can't be saying it all like all Voldemort like and stuff like that. Like, or like it's like in terms of like Midwesterners, like you said it like in terms of it like being like the Michigan Ohio State game where it's like we don't even say the name. that meeting that happened today. So the FOMC meeting.
Well, I just say that because I'm just trying to get to basically get to the point that I feel like everyone's like trying to reset still, kind of the same way I felt last week, that everyone's trying to kind of like trying to make sure that they can still breathe, you know, just try to make sure that they're not in anything that they don't believe in, or in any, everyone's still moving their stuff off of exchanges. So I feel um like as far as a bigger picture, a lot of investors anyway, were looking at what the Fed was doing, what they said, and it was just always the same. Like it's kind of annoying to me at this point. Like
It's annoying to me too. I got
we
liquidated.
wait for Jerome Powell. Oh yeah, a lot of people got liquidated today.
It was
A lot of
before. It
people
was like a
wait
day ahead of
for
time. I'm like, why is the
wait
market reacting
for
now? I went to
Jerome
sleep.
Powell to say certain things, and I'm always like, no one should be trading right now, to be honest. Like, no one should be leveraging during
Listen
this
to
time,
Satoshi.
because we know that the market is bad, but no one wants to hear me. No one wants to hear me say that type of shit. Everyone's like, dude, you're way too doom and gloom.
Hey,
I just
hey,
be like, man, it ain't. That's not it right now. Well, that's what I'm
those
feeling
neutros, put that
right
stop
now.
loss in there.
I do honestly feel like we are seeing some, like I said last week, we are seeing actual projects out there that are like actually working on stuff. We're getting to see who's still surviving, who's not. We're getting to see who's like gonna launch a new project in this atmosphere, who still believes in it. We're starting to see, and getting the experience from, the last bear market. It's just kind of like, you kind of know that you can still wait. You still have time to wait. You don't have to like push the gas right now.
Yeah, you don't have to
So
buy anything. It's a good time to learn. Just learn. It's like, yeah, like during the last bull market, like people were like, oh, you know how to trade and do like whatever the heck and stuff like that. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, is it easy? And I'm like, I mean, I like when I first started looking at charts, I did not know what I was looking at. And like I took an entire year during the bear market, one entire year of the last bear market, where I was like, I'm just gonna learn how to trade this year. I want to learn about charts and different patterns and this and that. That's for an entire year, like casually, sure. Like, and I'm working, but like that's an entire year of like me being like, that's what I'm gonna do in terms of cryptocurrency. And the next year, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm gonna focus. But like, yeah, when people say stuff like this, like, things do take time.
Yeah.
It takes time. But yeah, nice feelings on the market. I feel like everybody's kind of like this gray town, I'll call it. Ooh, C.S. Lewis reference. Everybody's in the gray town right now. And am I in the gray town?
Purgatory.
See, am I in the gray town? Maybe, but I'm still on the journey. And I'm optimistic. I'm like the one person where people are like, "Can you stop and get gray already?" Like, geez, just stop going up the hill. I'm like, nah, bro, we gotta do this stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just a naturally curious person, and so I'm finding that there's still lots of stuff in crypto and in DeFi that you can learn about, to the point that like I'm never, every week I'm like, man, there's lots of stuff that I did not learn about.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've like turned off, like I still look at Dege plays. Yeah, come on. They look
come
good.
on, guys. Come
on.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
Check
still.
them out.
There's a lot of research to be done. Like there's a lot of research that I need to do, that I'm so busy fucking around with these normies. I mean, that I just like.
It's hard. Yeah. And like again, like I still look at but I don't. I've been more of a conservative degen. I'll say. I've turned to the good side of yield, where I'm like getting like better than normie yields, but for degens, they're normie yields.
Like this week, I almost turned all of my stables into BUSD. I mean, no, sorry. I almost turned all my stables into BTC.
Almost jumped in.
Because I was just like, what the fuck is going on with these stables and with these exchanges?
Oh, just don't trust it,
dude. Like, what is up with it? I'm just like, damn,
it's going to the wallet right now. I'm just gonna park it in the real. All your stable coins. I was talking to this dude today, and he didn't know that. Like he's like, wait, somebody called USDC a centralized token. He's like, wait, USDC centralized, and I'm like, fam, yeah, like Circle, USDC. He's like, oh, what about Tether? And I'm like, fam, what? Like, bro, like most
All
of these,
of
like, yeah, Circle, or like USDC, Tether, when those two came around, and like that's why Tether was getting all that heat before. Dai is the decentralized stable coin, like LUSD, like liquidities. But you gotta like you're like after like Dai. I feel like honestly after Dai, you have to know your like DeFi and your crypto to some extent to be like listing like any other stable coin projects that are still around. Like some people knew UST from headlines, but like after that, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah. Let us move on. I think we have cleared the space and gathered ourselves and shared our sentiment on the current market structure. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
I am agnostic. Okay. I am agnostic.
There's so much,
I'm
bro.
optimistic for the space because I know we'll get there.
All the stuff we wanted last time is actually happening.
It's gonna take a bit, It's gonna be a crawl, but
for all the things I wanted,
we'll get there.
I mean,
other shit. But like,
it's one of those things, man. That is like, I always feel like these things are lucky breaks. You tread on with your project, you do what you need to do. And if you have a lucky break, you have the lucky break. And like, I hate attributing so many things to luck, but honestly, I just think that's what it is. It's just like people will accept it when it's ready.
Some things are luck, I think, for
Twitter,
sure, and I think some things are the right place, the right time. And I think that if you are in the space and you're experimenting with things, then you're going to benefit. Maybe not exactly right now, but eventually you're going to benefit a lot more than someone who's not in the space messing around with things and testing things and risky, and so it's just that some people have more time for that type of thing than other people, and
timing the market or time in the market versus timing the market, as they say.
True. Yeah. That's why they say that long-term gains is a lot more than short-term gains.
It's just true.
It's just like there's a lot more there.
Yeah, I just made a video last night, which I still need to publish, where I did a little breakdown because I'm going to try to do a series where I go from $0 to $10 to $100 in crypto over this Burra market, and using video games to do so. I like playing Gods Unchained. I got a little bit of a head start because some of my cards aren't the very lowest form, but it's not too much. But I'm gonna use that in like social media and airdrops and whatnot to do so. And did a little bad math, and it was simple. But it basically said like within 50 days, I would have like that $10 specifically from Gods Unchained with my low value cards. I'm like, oh, that not too bad. Now, of course, it's stuck on that platform and stuff like that, but that's just like the type of potential. All right, I want to keep things rolling here and start going into our topics of the day, which is most recently we came up with this topic, and I think I'm going to keep it. I think it's going to be a rolling thing from week to week, which is, what is crypto? I would love to hear, like, what is crypto? Normally still don't get it, and it shows.
You're dropping this one early this week, man.
I love that title. It's just like, it works for me. And there's just always something happening in Normieville that makes you feel like, wow, do they actually know what they're talking about? I don't know.
What the hell? I wonder who. I wonder who it is this week. Like,
it's okay.
This is like Charlemagne's donkey of the day right here.
I'll give some precursor. Depending on your tendencies or like which way you lean, this might not seem as bad to you because it's gonna be a toss up for folks. But for me,
I feel like he's prepping you. We all know which one in this group feels a certain kind of way. And,
for me, it's Miss Elizabeth Warren. Miss Elizabeth Warren believes that this is what cryptocurrency is mostly used for. Anybody who's got those decentralized wallets, Satoshi, I know you know tons of them. Obviously, there was like the funny thing is like one of the Bankless crew had like a tweet like earlier this morning, and he's got like a picture of him riding the New York subway, and he's like, "Yeah, it kind of hurt that Elizabeth Warren called like anybody using DeFi shadowy coder people that like." He's like, "I'm just like a normal person, and it's kind of like dehumanizing." I'm like, you know what? That's true, Bankless dude. And Elizabeth just doesn't get you. She doesn't get you. She thinks you're a rogue nation or an oligarch and drug lords using crypto to launder billions. I mean, look, I guess you could. I feel like you would probably just use cash, Elizabeth. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to imagine you don't want to get caught. Like, probably just want to use cash. You could. But maybe, and like, this is the other thing. This is strictly my opinion on this, right? Because it's not to say that you can't use cryptocurrency to do that if you wanted to. My first point is going to be that we all know the United States dollar is used way more so to do this thing, way more so than cryptocurrency. And the government even had a study on that and proved this themselves. So it's just kind of funny that we consistently come to this type of point when you've actually done the research yourself and come to the opposite conclusion. The next thing would be that, like, obviously, since it's the blockchain, you know, there's a certain level of transparency that goes with things that, like, maybe that's just not the route that you want to use. If you could use cash money to do that, it just, I don't know. To me, I don't know, how does this make you guys feel before we dive into this any further? What's your initial takeaway? Mine is Elizabeth she don't get it.
No, she's just like, she's hunting. She's just like looking for the bad people in crypto. I'm almost positive. I'm absolutely sure of this, but I'm almost positive that Sam Bankman-Fried helped her make this fucking bill that she's talking about. And I think that's kind of rude to me. That kind of offends me just a bit. And you know, you don't do illegal shit with crypto, really. I mean, because they can track you. And
I was reading some of that this morning.
Don't want to do that. Drug dealers probably don't want to take crypto for fucking drugs because they want regular money, like dollars.
Yeah. They gotta work it through an entire system, and like it's also like kind of like assuming that like I guess, are we that bad at investigating things as a nation? Is that what you're telling me, Elizabeth? Because we got people that get interested in wallets, and we're finding celebrities out here based on their NFT trades and stuff like that. We got normal people running around doing that and figuring out these transactions. You're telling me that some drug lord is moving around billions of dollars, and you somehow can't track that? Like, really? You can't figure out the flow of that much money? Like, it would seem like if other people could do it, then like maybe our government would be. And if not, then maybe you should hire more people from this sector and stop like dismissing it, because they obviously know something more than you. If the average person in this sector can do that, like if you pass grade 3 in cryptocurrency and DeFi, you now know how to use an Explorer and you can find whales. Congratulations. Like, really, Elizabeth?
She doesn't get it, and whoever's teaching her about blockchain is obviously a fucking idiot, and they're just making her sound dumb to us. But to other people, she probably sounds like, you know, she's probably like ringing the alarm bell and you know, signaling that everything over here needs to be regulated so that she can have more work for herself to do and justify her job. Yeah. But honestly, they just look like idiots.
We need to regulate these Ethereum validators so that nothing like FTX ever happens again. Well, bam, like that's Ethereum. Like, okay, for anybody that knows crypto, like that just don't make sense. And like, I'm paraphrasing part of what I read from her little statement or whatever this, but like, bro, really? Okay. I don't know. I was in a Spaces this morning and somebody phrased it very well, I thought, when they said that there should, for as far as government regulation on this type of thing goes, there should be regulation from the government on CPI. So centralized entities like FTX, like Coinbase, like Binance that extend into traditional finance and have that working. And for actual DeFi projects that are trying to do this anonymous thing on as part of the internet, where it's like multiple people can provide to an open source project and have that type of thing going, and it just exists as a smart contract, I like consider that more like open waters, and that's just out there. And unless that even interacts with one of these centralized exchanges, then you don't have anything to deal with. Like, it's out there doing stuff, and when it comes in, then you have taxes to be paid and whatnot. But yeah, kind of to like my somebody, this guy said the same thing. He was like, yeah, I don't want to send this to my tax people. Yeah, my like sent the infinite, like my tax guy's response when like I came with my information, and I was like, here you go. And he's like, 2,000 pages. I'm not printing that shit. And I was like, bro, like, I mean, like, this is why I'm here. I just like smiled. Just smile like, yeah, that's why I'm paying you, fam. So welcome to the party.
All right,
it don't make sense to do it.
Normie take. So I'm a firm believer in the police, and I know that sounds like a strange way to say that. Obviously, yeah, run from the police. yeah. I believe in it as like an institution in the sense that I feel like they do need to exist. I think, every space in every sector in every industry should have some oversight to make sure that people are playing fair and justly. And obviously, you don't want, the frailest human being who can't enforce anything to enforce things. And in this sense, it's like clearly doesn't understand it as a whole, doesn't understand how it all works, and doesn't understand that, like, obviously this problem exists in both spectrums. You can't just, money's used improperly, therefore we need to get rid of money. It's kind of thrown on the bathwater, or the baby out with the bathwater kind of thoughts. And obviously that just doesn't work. And it just would be nice that in general, in every sector, in every industry, that they were forced to have a comprehensive kind of team that can tell them, hey, look, these are the problems. This is what we could possibly do with it. And then that they can have a baseline understanding of how these things work. Because it's clear that they clearly don't. They just go, it can be used improperly, and that's the biggest devil in the room, and nobody can convince me that there's other things and other uses for it. So, I'm going to point at the devil, and hopefully, that gets me votes. It makes everybody see that I'm out for justice. And it's like, well, you kind of need to see the problem first. And, this exists in every aspect of our political spectrum. And we are kind of going through it because this is just another thing to add to that list of things that goes, hey, you're missing the plot.
Yeah. And again, like, I think, there can be some level of regulation. I don't think there needs to be regulation on decentralized end of things. The FTXs, if it's an American company on American soil dealing with America, go ahead. That's their entire business. Versus something that's trying to be this global thing with like no one entity, and you have to try to pick, you have to do some Gary Gensler type stuff to be like, no, actually, we think that because this many validators that have money are in the United States in this core, then that makes, like, bro, it's such a stretch. It's such a stretch. And then you have to like make certain type of rules for something like that to work, where you have to just ignore all the other Ethereum validators.
I wasn't even sure if they were going to be able to even charge Sam Bankman-Fried for anything because he was in the Bahamas. But it seems like they got him for like wire fraud, basically, since people were sending the money directly to Alameda. I mean, that's where when you were doing a withdrawal, like when you were depositing money to FTX, you were sending money directly to Alameda. So it's just like, damn. So I think he got hit for wire fraud and some other fucking charges too. I forgot exactly what they were, but.
Yeah, let me see if this can refresh us any. That's Vox. That's yours. I mean, all the big names covering things like this now. Yeah, Sam down. Heard a lot of rumors about Caroline already being in the hands of the media and maybe given some extra information on Sam. Like, so there were some leaks a few days in a row about certain things. I'm not sure if you saw like the crypto Twitter about the the chat groups, the wire fraud titled chat group that they had. Yeah. They had a text group that was called wire fraud.
The one that he denied happened. Like he's basically admitted to everything except for that. I'm like, so you're gonna deny that one, huh? So stupid, dude.
it was a special situation. It's almost like so special that I'm like,
The whole thing is special.
is this like a certain level of hacking where like it's like, you know, it's like a really cool Mission Impossible movie happening in front of our eyes right now, and Sam's like, no, seriously, you guys don't know how good they are. And it's all just, I don't know. That's too much credit. No, that's probably not
Well,
it. You can
so
wish.
a few things. To me, I feel like there probably will be more people that get indicted, or there should be a lot more people who are going to get indicted. Um, I feel like you know, like I feel like Sam is kind of the scapegoat right now. Like all these other people are probably like flying in jets to countries that they feel like they might not be able to get extradited from, laying low. Maybe some people might, you know, turn themselves in. Who knows? But I feel like that there definitely needs to be more people who are going to be indicted in this situation.
I don't know if it's related at all, and because I heard it on a podcast, specifically Joe Rogan's podcast, that a lot of crypto execs are like ended up dead. I don't know how true that
was
is.
like,
There has
some
been a
people,
couple.
crypto billionaires. Yeah, some
Yeah, they
billionaires.
just
Like there was the MakerDAO creator, and he was talking. Yeah, we covered that on one of these too. It was interesting.
yeah. I just don't. You know, like with these things though, like as scary it is to sometimes like kind of talk about these things. You know, nobody ever pays the way they're supposed to pay. You know, and it's like, you know, he defrauded billions of dollars. You know, he basically kind of took what we bailed out all these banks in the past for, you know, and kind of like ran the same gambit, you know, in a lot of ways, you know, from the information that I have about that kind of FTX situation. And it just, it always rubs me the wrong way because like there's like dirt. All right. It's like, well, it's like this weird thing to where you like engage in something and you engage in the system and like, it's hard to remove the cancer in it. So it's like, we're a part of America, you know, like, you know, we all love our country, but like to say that our government doesn't blow people up, kill kids if they have to, kind of thing, you know, as graphic as that is, like, I mean, like, would we be surprised if that was the case? The answer is probably no. You know, does that mean that we should be implicated as Americans? Probably not. And I think that gets a little weaved into these kind of situations to where you're like dealing with a group of individuals that is like, are there some nefarious actors? Yeah. To weed them out specifically and then hold them accountable with all the evidence that you would possibly need to be beyond a reasonable doubt, it can be a little difficult. So it's like, I hate these kinds of crimes because, you know, it's just one of those things to where it's like, it sucks in every way, shape, and form. But it's like let's take the Enron, for example. Let's take Enron. It's like they just flat out lied, defrauded, lied the books, cooked the books, did all these different types of things, you know, and it's like 2 people went to jail. Do you really think 2 people were the only individuals that like were involved in that kind of thing? Don't you think it probably went a little bit lower on that scale? And that part right there is like just kind of the part that sucks, is you can't get them all. And you do just have to make an example. And if people keep doing it, you keep putting people in jail. And so it's like, I get your sentiment. I feel it too, but it's just like, in my personal opinion, number one, it's hard to catch them all. But at the same time, it's
almost got to go down.
Yeah, it's all like, a little bit dirty.
The captain has to go down. Yeah, the captain has to go down with the ship. So Sam Bankman-Fried got charged with wire fraud, conspiracy of campaign finance violation, because he donated all that money. So it looks like a lot of those senators might have to give that money back. It looks like, I think so. He paid a lot of people to promote, so I think they might have to give the money back. Not sure on that. But yeah, but I think technically Kevin O'Leary lost the money that he got.
Yeah, that's a good segue too, because we're gonna look. I can give Sam maybe one more minute. Again, like we're into what is it? Is it almost Christmas? We're into December, and Sam is still taking up time in people's lives. We've been. I mean, I'm a crypto Twitter degen, so you know, been hearing about Sam Bankman-Fried in this story since like September or so. like just the potential rumors and stuff, and then it's sweeping through, and it all coming to a culmination in November, early
It
November.
just sucks you
I'm
in,
like-
Smurf. I'm sorry.
So yeah. Sam, you know what you did. We're gonna move into, before we get to a more happy topic direction. Not to say this one isn't happy as well. You know, again, it's very, very subjective. What do you like? I don't know. All right, this one is an article on SushiSwap DAO budgets, and I just wanted to kind of see the room's opinion on something like this. I found it to be interesting. So the DAO budget's $5.2 million, with 82% going to salaries.
No.
That sounds, I don't know, that sounds fishy.
That sounds very,
Sushi.
very fishy.
Say that again.
Yeah, the DAO budget's $5.2 million, and maybe this is the takeaway from it. Maybe the takeaway is that it's just them budgeting a small amount. Like, I'd have to go into more detail. Maybe they're just budgeting a small amount, and it's not like their total earnings. It's like, yo, we have these millions and millions of dollars, and we're taking 5.2 million for some type of otherly budget, and 82% is going to, I don't know. Actually, they kind of break it down to you, and they said that there was a certain portion that went toward overhead, such as like fees and like legality and whatever the heck, and then there was the rest of it going toward these salaries, with the CEO making like $500,000 a year, I believe it's.
Man.
Yeah, including a $5,000 in USDC to head chef Gray salary. How do we feel about this?
Terrible.
Feel terrible?
This is bad. Absolutely terrible. This is dumb. And there are a lot of projects that you can go to SushiSwap and buy right now. There are a lot of DeFi, a lot of tokens that are on the market are on SushiSwap. I've used SushiSwap. I don't vote for their governance and stuff, but it doesn't really, I don't really like that. I don't know if I could say I don't like that they're taking that much money. I don't really know. I don't know how the DAO would tell them that they can
this guy
make that much money. But hey, if that's what their DAO is doing, then okay. If the people who have the most tokens have said that that's what needs to happen with that money, then that's what they paid for, I guess. So it works how it should, I guess. That would not be the DAO that I would be in, though, or that I would.
Yeah.
That would not have been what I would have voted for. I would not have voted for that
one. All right, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm like, cool. That is coming. Let's make sure it's coming on screen. I'm like, it's just perfect timing. I feel like as I go through that, it's like, I'm pretty sure. Don't I remember something about this guy? Gray kind of has a track record that's maybe not the best track record. Accused of some things, but
who's this?
We've covered this before actually too. But this is the head chef of SushiSwap, so basically the CEO
Chef
of
Nomi?
Sushi. Yeah, no, that used to be Sam.
Okay.
But Sam was not Chef Nomi, but Sam was also. And maybe they have a track. Maybe Sushi has a track record for the people that they have. Chef. But yeah. That's not to say that, like, this is my thing with this thing with the whole scam thing on this guy and whatever. I'm like, yeah, maybe, and I'm gonna give you guys my 2 opinions on this in general, which is not as harsh as it might think. His thing with the scam accusations is that he was working for these projects that ended up not being so good. And so, like, I kind of give you a pass on that. Similar to my opinions on, like, does everybody got to go down if something negative happens at whatever business? That would be like, like at some point it stops. At some point they sever the bleeding. Like, regardless, you gotta just think about it in terms of company structures and stuff like that. Macy's goes under tomorrow, I guarantee, and for embezzlement or something. It's not the janitors that have been there for 30 years that are really taking, like, they're not coming at the damn like, like, I was just sweeping the office. No, it's not happening like that. Like, at some point, there's like a severance of like who's actually taking these hits. And so I do feel like the similar type of respect in that, and I would give Mr. Gray here the pass on something like that. Also, then and then you're early to the party, and so there's sometimes these things actually get hacked, or there was whatever type of things, or you work with somebody you're trusting people before there was like a more proper type of multi-sig situation in place for some of these projects, and they actually got so it only takes one bad actor, especially if you're trying to do something revolutionary. We've all seen the movies. There's always that one person that you thought that you could sleep next to, but then they wake up. They wake up. They don't do good things.
They wake up on that bullshit, man. Like,
what are they doing? They wake you up. Yeah,
just run around scamming everybody. Like, man, and man, you wonder who you can blame, and you can only blame that person who's scamming people, because it's just like it's a web of scams that they're pulling off and tricking people into doing stupid shit.
Yeah,
but it's just like, man. So it's just like when someone's doing something, like it's hard. It's hard to figure out who you blame, but that's why you got to go back and see like what they were doing on the blockchain, and if they were sharing the money, if they're gonna fucking return some of the money, if they feel sorry, if they act sorry, So
and this is something else I'll say with this situation. Like I have. I don't know if maybe 82% is a little high, guys. That might be a little up there. That might be a bit much. It's kind of like they're like only so much goes to innovation, and maybe they're like, what are we gonna do with the rest? Us divvying the rest of this to like all of our holders isn't gonna do much. We might as well, quite honestly, depending, because I don't know. But my general opinion is like I have no problem with the team that's like upholding the project, and like maybe as like a core team or something like that, making some funds from that. Maybe like the core developer of like an Andre Cornier or whatever whoever's developing the thing. Like honestly, if that was like the Charles has, like I'm like, all right, look, core developers, whatever the heck, can get some type of kick. Honestly, it should just be built into the damn consensus of the protocol, like through some type of voting mechanism where it's like, yeah, we send it to these wallets, right? Like, and I think that is what they're doing. I guess the DAO sent the proposal, and that's what's happening through the vote, is that it's being sent to these specific wallets from that. And so, like, I have no problem with that. The percentage though is maybe up for debate, and like how maybe there's some more creative ways in which some of that could be used, and we'll never know.
Okay.
But I'm a capitalist.
All right, let me go ahead and give you my little screen square and stuff. I Googled it. All right. It says that roughly on average,
screen share,
15 to 30% is what you would pay in payroll. And this is a quick Google search. Up to 50% can be in highly intensive service-based businesses. So with this,
there's 82%.
On a quick Google search,
a little strong.
But this is decentralized. This is decentralized, okay? It's okay because it's decentralized. The DAO said that they could do it.
Yeah, it's a bit much, I'd say. It's a bit much.
So you know how they have proof of reserves now? I think that they should also do a thing where they tell you, they give you a graph and make it so you can see how much percentage of one wallet owns a certain percentage of these DAO tokens. So we can see like who's really like how the vote is split. Because just because the DAO votes for something, that doesn't mean that it was necessarily like, a bunch of people voting in favor of, the change that happened. Like what happened with Mango, like what happened with what was that other one? Where the DAO voted. What was it? That one that we covered a little while ago, where they stole a bunch of money on Solana, and then
that's Mango. Mango.
Okay, Mango, and then the DAO voted to give the hacker all the money, or just let him keep it. That shit was wild.
See,
and the hacker basically took out a loan to get all that.
And the actual DAO was the hacker.
Yeah, like got a loan to become the DAO. Voted to give himself the money.
So, like, here's the thing, though, too, as well. I'll add this little bit to it. All right. So, I mentioned earlier that, I watch a fair amount of like financial CEO kind of thing, the Gary V's, the Grant Cardones, all these different kind of people. And they always kind of say the same thing. As soon as you start giving yourself a large part of the money, your business starts to slow down. Development starts to slow down. You can't grow. You can't kind of put money into these sectors of your business to help those kind of grow and facilitate themselves. And if they're taking 80% of the money, and I haven't read the article. I saw you dropped it a little bit late in the Discord because I was like, wait, I don't remember that link. But like I didn't read through it. But man, you have to have a great, strong reason to give yourself 80%, 82% of the money. It's like, okay, when's this budget gonna reset? Like
that was alcohol.
Like it's like one of those alcohol things to where it's like how big is that window of time that they're going to be giving themselves 82%, and what it's going to look like the next time. So it's like if it's just like a strong like small stint to where it's like, hey guys, it's hard out here. We've been working hard. We've been running off gas. Some of us have family that we need to take care of. And so we're going to reward ourselves this round. The next round we're going in hard. With replenished stocks and money, we'll go ahead and push harder, and then you might get a little okay guys, but fuck man, 82%.
Yeah. I want to bring
82%.
Hey,
that's wild.
Hey, some of us be out here balling. What's the burr market? I wanted to show this tweet from Vitalik, which got some discussion from the community. People felt kind of in the air. The notion of governance rights as a narrative, why a token should be valuable, is pathological. I think it's a bit much to be saying pathological, Mr. Vitalik. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. You're literally saying I'm buying X token. That's the token, and then I believe somebody created X token. Anytime Vitalik mentions a token in one of his tweets these days, people go out and make that token and pump it. So congratulations to all you X holders out there. Because later on someone might buy it from me and a bunch of other people to twist the protocol toward their special interests, aka what happened on Mango markets. Or what some people might consider like the greater fool type of scenario, or if you don't want to call it something like that, you feel like that sounds too negative. It's just a way of explaining something. But yeah, it's just waiting with speculation that price gonna go up. I can sell it later because price can go up, not necessarily because I care about utility of it, my percentage of utility of it, which is somewhat of a fair review in my opinion. But at the same time, that's like it's a little too negative for me. Where I'm like, yes, that does mean that hedge funds and big businesses, institutions, and stuff like that could come in and they could buy up more voting percentage than me, and they could do stuff that I don't like, right? But that happens in the world currently. And in some cases, I just don't get any type of chance to buy in. Like the thing with like the GameStop and stuff last year was interesting because people could do the short squeeze on GameStop because they could come together in mass. And people have that same opportunity in blockchain. Like if people really wanted to stop something in blockchain, they can come together in mass, and you can do so with Ethereum validators too. So even though Ethereum validators currently can have like, we have all the money and, I'm going to do something nefarious because I own so many of these like paid validators. The masses of Ethereum validators, the ones that aren't even being paid, can come together in such a number that it doesn't matter anymore. And that's kind of cool. And the same thing exists in the United States governance and like voting. Like that would be like saying like, yeah, well, actually, like, it's having the mindset to like, I'm not going to go out and vote because it doesn't matter. And it's like, well, at some point, like, yes, your vote is really minuscule, but it's supposed to influence this other portion of things, which helps influence what you want to happen. And so either you can participate in that happening, or you can have no participation. And it's just the fact that it's being done on the blockchain. For the founder of Ethereum to kind of not get that, or at least, maybe he's prodding a little bit to see what kind of responses come out. But I don't know. Like, I get his take. Again, you're having such a small effect on the vote. And other people can overpower that. That's not like, the biggest value prop, and it shouldn't be the only value prop. If that's the only value prop, it's a bad value prop. The token needs more than that to have value. But I don't know. But voting issuance itself, I gotta say nay. Opinions.
I agree with what Vital's saying. I kind of compare it to like the presidential election where, you guys get to vote. And even if more people vote in favor of A, sometimes if certain states win the right way, they have more votes with less people. So that means that B might win with actually less actual votes. So I think that what needs to happen is we're going to have to adapt some of these smart contracts to kind of be a little smarter with how they count these DAO votes, and be a little bit smarter about scammed DAO tokens, and be a little bit smarter about, maybe they can apply some type of weight to, if you have, this certain amount of tokens, then, maybe there's a weight to how much voting power you actually have
how
to
big
where,
that voting
where,
power
to where you don't control the controlling vote and what happens in the whole thing, but you have more of a vote, and I mean, I feel like eventually that's where things are going to have to go, because people are greedy sometimes, and I think that's what's more fair, especially if you're in America and you're voting for certain things. You understand how our voting system works. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that the most popular thing is always going to happen.
Do you understand that if you're in America? That's a topic for the show.
I don't think everyone necessarily does understand how the voting actually works, because people think that, I personally think that voting's rigged. I think that,
it could be a better system.
I think that voting is a little stressful if you're the average person, and it's not really built for you to vote. Like, they really don't want you to vote. Yeah. If everyone rises up and goes to vote, yes, but it's like, I think that's almost impossible. Like, people got to go to work. Like, not everyone can even physically go to vote because they got to work. It's not like everyone gets off that day to go to work. Anyway.
I was like, we can go down a whole different topic. Come on,
My bad.
Bring y'all back in.
My bad. I'll grade myself in on that one.
I think in general, I'm not sure if I understand this tweet in its fullest terms, but I'll go ahead and give my little take on voting and so on and so forth. Unless somebody else wants to.
Feel free to. Like, what do you understand of it? What is your interpretation before you go into?
Basically, he's
let's ask Stormy.
Yeah. This could be exactly what it is. Basically, wait, go back to the tweet though, because I was looking at it, and I need the tweet. So it's like, basically, governance rights can be a little weird, and valuing that specific thing maybe overblown, and maybe something that we shouldn't be fully valuing because it's so easy to manipulate. And would you say that's like somewhat fair summation of kind of?
Yeah. I feel like it could, his tweet could just be like solely the governance value. And I think solely being a governance value is, like, probably not so good. But yeah, you pretty much right.
Okay. If I understand it correctly, I would say I largely agree with him, but, getting towards like kind of what Satoshi was getting at when he was talking about voting, I think there are some like elements that people don't actually truly add into their equation when they're doing the cost analysis of voting and stuff. Because I think voting is a form of power that you can exercise to change your community. I truly 100% believe that. I believe in voting. I believe that it's the right thing to do. I think it's something that everybody should do their due diligence to make happen. There are obviously parts of that system that are kind of scuffed. I think it should be way easier to understand a politician's points and views. I think it should be way easier to kind of see what's happening. Like, it really does feel like you have to hunt for that information.
It's really not that difficult, bro.
It's
Marjorie
not.
Taylor Greene believes in lizard people. Done.
But like I get what you're saying. You're kind of memeing.
Gotta troll you a little bit.
You're
I'm like, it's totally a thing, but
there's just like so much information and so much to pay attention to, and it's like, it's so hard to like just fight the noise you know, to where it's like you can logically look at something and go, okay, this is being real. You know, it's like we're so caught up on just living our lives and trying to make sure that they work that it's hard to be like, look, I spent quite a bit of time observing this individual and they're a liar. You know, it's like sometimes that can be a little difficult to discern, you know, and it's like we may be better at it than most people as we're sitting here kind of speaking from our talk boxes and reading articles and so on and so forth. But it's like everybody knows that individual that they work with. They were like, do you think? Do you read anything? Do you ask yourself the question, like, does this make sense? Like, do you do any of the kind of checks and balances that you might need to do to make sure that your thoughts
functioning happening?
Yeah. It's like, does that even make sense? Like, just say it out loud. Look at it. Does that make sense? You know, and it's like, so it's like this weird thing to where it's like, I went on a rant a little bit. All right. Voting's good. All right.
Yeah.
The part that I was trying to get to, the part that I was actually trying to get to is there are other forms of power at work. All right. And money is one of them. And I hate that that's never really a part of the equation when it comes to things like voting. Is like you can deploy the power you have with money to influence things. You know, and I feel like that's not really a functionality that people think about when they talk about things like voting.
Oh, we do in blockchain. It's exactly what we're talking about.
I know that's like part of it, but like even still, like it's real easy for somebody who has a bunch of money, who's a whale, to manipulate things. And I don't care what market you're in, you know, and what it is you're doing, you know, in that sense, I kind of believe, you know, him to say big wallet, little wallet kind of situation. And I think that will happen more often than not. So sorry for that long summation, but that's basically what I'm getting at. Is that
I agree with you in theory that voting is good. You know, democracy is good. That's why we're in America, because we think that, you know, the most people believe in something that's what should happen. You know, but it's just that when you can buy votes or when you can manipulate people, you know, when you can use money to manipulate people to vote a certain way or to influence votes is where, you know, things get kind of choppy. And it happens in, you know, traditional finance, and it happens in you know, in DeFi too. So it's just like, it's something that we're going to have to figure out.
One of them is just a little bit more transparent, and we didn't need FTX to collapse to figure it out. I
do appreciate how transparent DeFi is in that, like, you know, we always find out what happened.
People be knowing, like, as it's happening, and people are like, yo, somebody somewhere is like, yo, you see this? And let's see if that transaction goes through. It went through.
I'm excited for when voting kind of comes to a more blockchain type of system, to where we can look at the data on who voted and how they voted, and, you know, well, no, sorry, not necessarily who exactly that person that voted was, but being able to verify that this person was a real person who voted, being able to verify that this real person voted this specific way, and you know, being able to actually know that, like, that would make me want to vote more. Like, if I knew that, you know, it was a real person, and I could see, you know, that, you know, this person maybe came from this state and they voted this way, as opposed to just people voting and then they count it up and then this representative goes and votes for it, you know. So it's just like, we have to change the way we vote and do it smarter.
Yeah, I feel like you know, not that they're really tackling that specifically, but I feel like what Coinbase is doing in terms of the transparency with politicians and their views on cryptocurrency and them displaying that is a step in that type of direction. So, not that it's like exactly what you're saying, but I think that's showing that, you know, it is heading in that direction. I want to keep us moving on some of these DeFi topics that we have. That was Mr. Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, a unicorn genius, we'll call him. The man likes unicorns. What can I say? What do we have next in the DeFi world? Two things. But before we get to those, we're going to go through and have a short video break. It's not really a break. We're going to play this clip from where was this? Who did this hearing exactly? What was the body of government that did this hearing?
It was Congress. I think
Was it
it
Congress?
was the Senate. Oh no.
So I'm like, I don't know what the body of government that did this. Kevin O'Leary
I think it was the Senate.
hearing. Yeah, I wanted to say it was like the Senate, but I like honestly I can't even remember. Yeah, Senate hearing, FTX collapse. Like I don't even remember honestly. Here we go. Let's listen to Mr. O'Leary and what he had to say. And Satoshi, actually, do you have a better preface to this? Actually, you know what? We have the whole question because I forgot. I was editing it beforehand, guys. Whatever. Let's hear Kevin O'Leary in the Senate talking about everything around FTX. Not everything, but you get it. Let's go.
I do always appreciate the opportunity to have an open line of communication with you, so thank you. To everyone here, thank you. This obviously is something we have been working on for a period of time here and really appreciate the insight you all bring. I do want to follow up on my colleague, Senator Van Hollen's line of questioning with Professor Allen. I want to ask the rest of you. Clearly, she's supporting banning it. If we don't ban it, how do we regulate it? She put forth a proposal, which is isolate it from the banking system and then define it as a security. Does anybody disagree with that or have any other ideas about how it would be regulated? Mr. O'Leary.
The concept of passing legislation that would ban banks from integrating cryptocurrencies and crypto technology, if that were to happen as an investor, I would short every American bank stock because it would make it the most uncompetitive financial services sector in the world. The innovation that is coming forward, once regulated, is going to be profound in terms of how it changes the cost, the efficiency, the auditability, the productivity of the banking sector. Just look at things as simple as ACH transfers, how archaic they are. Look at the Fed wire.
So let me just stop you there. I only have so much time. So you do not agree with isolating it from the banking system?
That's insanity.
Okay, Ms. Schultz.
All right. You're out of line, Gecko.
Oh,
My God.
That's the meme I need to be dropped on there, man.
I
Or the
was
GIF.
feeling-
GIF I need to be dropped on there, dude. Like he was just like, y'all are so dumb. No, we cannot tell the banks that they cannot get in on this. Kevin O'Leary's like, I would short you guys so fast.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. But Kevin O'Leary's had a lot of interesting things to say these last couple of months, last month really. Today during that Senate committee hearing, he basically blamed CZ for what happened at FTX. Or no, sorry, he blamed CZ for taking FTX out. I'll say that. He had some pretty interesting insights about that. I don't really know what'll come of that, but I thought it was fun and interesting. And he's very optimistic about the space. He's interested in the technology and interested in being able to move his assets around whenever he wants, however he wants, and paying less money to do that. And blockchain lets him do that. And he sees that technology can help banks, and banks are going to be able to make money, off of blockchain technology and smart contracts. So,
I mean, he's just making. I mean, the man's spitting hot fire. He's like, might as well put the leather jacket on and do the back lean. It's like, dang, Kevin, don't roast spit roast. To me, and part of that is because he mentioned the ACH transfer. When he mentioned ACH, I was like, bro, boom, and I fell dead. But it's okay. I'm youthful, so survived that one. But that's really how I felt. Last time I tried to do an ACH transfer was not pretty. I was like, what is wrong with my bank? I was like, really? Is this difficult? I'm like, what do you want? Like, at first I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it for the app. And I'm like, okay, obviously it's not happening on the app. Well, like, where's the information for this on the web page then? Really no information for it on the web page. I gotta go into like FAQ docs and stuff like that. I'm the type of person that will go into FAQ docs, but I have to go into the FAQ docs. I'm not fine. I find like one little thing from years ago, and I'm like, that's not even what they're using anymore. Don't they use this one thing? Can you guys update? Really? And so then I go, and you know what it tells me? You got to do it on the mobile phone. So I go to the app. I'm like, really? So I go to the mobile, and it's still like, bro, it was a runaround for like a month, and it just never happened. It actually just never happened. It actually just never happened. I had to use Venmo. I used Venmo. I was like, you know, this is just so bad. But the bank just wasn't bound to have it. I'm like, really? What do you want me to like? They wanted me to do like some other type of like wire transfer to like do it. And I'm like, this is just too much. Like, I just wanted to be able to send. I wanted to be able to send the. You can't. Is this difficult to send money around? Really? And we're not asking ourselves more questions like, why is it this difficult to send money? I'm like, you know, if I send crypto around, you just send it around. You're like, boom, 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 boom. Nothing stopping you. I had the exact same issue with like an engagement campaign I'm doing for work and stuff like that. And we're like trying to get the money to like, you know, help out with the prizes and stuff. And it's like, well, it's coming from a centralized entity. And of course, it's held up for like a long time. And it's like, geez, bro, it's actually being a blockchain person and then having to use any type of traditional CPI like transactionary stuff. It's horrible. It's really like, bad, y'all.
I'm doing this right now.
It's really bad. I know like a lot of people really don't get that because they're not using it like that. But when you know, like if I wanted to send Satoshi like $20 right now through my bank, it's probably not going to happen. I have to use some type of like, you know, other third party application to do it. And maybe they still use my bank account, but it's just not like going straight through that. Nope. Or I can just use whatever one of my cryptocurrency wallets, and even if I have to like, oh, I need it on this chain, I can switch it to another blockchain from the chain it's on and send it to them quicker than it's going to happen. It's wild. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way, but we accept it, and so it is. Like the same argument I see comparable to the argument that I see people make about like blockchain gaming and stuff like that, where they're like, the blockchain games are bad because we allow them to be. I'm like, exactly, because we allow them to be bad. We allow our banking system to be horrible.
We allow games to be bad now, though. Like, because like at this point, it's not even just blockchain games. Games are just bad.
Meowser. Here, I want to show this article really quickly.
Wait, bro.
Oh, you had. Sorry, it's my bad, fam.
Yeah. I'm just waiting my turn. You know, waiting quietly. Yeah, you know.
I pull back.
It's like, oh, I'm trying to go, Larry. Try to go. I don't have much to say other than, you know, it would be nice if people did actually understand what was going on so they could make decisions that make sense. You know, no matter how you feel about cryptocurrency, the idea of a blockchain makes sense for a lot of different things. And building on top of it is the future. It is what we kind of need to adapt to. When things show that they improve how things work, we need to start adapting these things. And I'm going to keep linking it to everything because we do this with a lot of things, you know, whether it be the way we create energy, the way we do governance, the way we do voting, all these different things. All these things could be better, and we really should put our best foot forward and choose the things that are going to help us create a better future. And this is one of those things to where it just doesn't make sense that if we could have a more transparent system that makes it easier to transfer money, that we wouldn't do that.
I mean, we already are. We're moving toward it. Like, I know you're not like on every podcast and stuff like that, but we've already covered that. The federal was like, well, first it was like Swift banking system. So this archaic wired money transfer system we're talking about is already doing pilot runs of blockchain technology in replace of their current system. So they've already begun doing that. And we made the statement during that show when we were covering that. Well, it was like, how long into the, you know, all these other nations. And then we were like, other nations kept like, you know, their central banks kept doing it. It's like, when is the United States central bank going to do it, aka the Federal Reserve? And then the Federal Reserve announced that they were starting a pilot program for blockchain technology and transfers and stuff like that. So like all these central banks in the SWIFT system, it's all going to transfer to blockchain regardless, which is why we do need some level of regulation for this, because they want to get their CBDCs going, because that's a much better way of tracking the money. And of course, they're still going to make it way too difficult when they want to take the taxes out. Jesus, just put it on some type of transaction. I really hope that they find some people that are like actually in the blockchain and get like the best potential CBDCs out there that just take the freaking taxes, don't bother us. They're not going to. But it's all happening. It's all already happening. We're already making those changes. It's just a matter of when it all goes into effect fully. And this is also a great transition, as I might say, into this tweet that I wanted to show, which was last week we had Justin Sun talking about the digital yuan on for China and currency, and now we have talking about you can purchase BTC futures ETF in China legally started from today. So China still has that ban, I believe, on Bitcoin mining, but you can do it as like you can do your stock thing over there with Bitcoin now legally in China. So they too, this is just to say that they too are moving forward with their regulation and figuring out what they're going to do with that. Yeah, what it makes me think of is like I know a lot of people are like, oh, I thought China like totally hated Bitcoin and whatever. And I'm like, maybe not. Who hates money? If you can make money off of trading something, you're probably not going to be mad about trading it. However, the energy consumption, even though a lot of their energy stuff for Bitcoin was like hydro dams and stuff like that, to my understanding, they really didn't have to like completely ban it. It kind of doesn't make sense when it was a lot of it was hydro. But whatever, you know, that's part of the, it's not like their senators are that much smarter than ours.
Trying to be flip-flopping.
Yeah. Any takes on BTC futures in China?
Well,
is it bullish or is it bearish?
I'm gonna say bullish. Hopefully, eventually they bake them in America. I don't know. A lot of people say they want Bitcoin ETFs on the stock market. I just think people should just buy Bitcoin if that's what they want. But people have to move their money around a certain way, so they have to buy ETFs instead of regular Bitcoin. Sucks for them, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm neutral because I'm generally neutral about everything China, because the way they choose to censor things, the way they choose to approach things, I feel like there's too many smoke and mirrors for me to be like, I know what this is. This is good. This is bad.
Facts.
Half the time I'm like, I'm just looking at it like, I don't know what I'm looking at. We'll find out, I guess, in time. And that's generally how I feel. Like when you guys were talking last week, I kind of mentioned a Smurf at the end, about like kind of like their manufacturing and stuff. Apparently we stopped making chips in China. We stopped providing them with chips. And it's like kind of crippling their manufacturing in general because they don't have the chips to run their machines anymore. And so they have to do this like flip to where they have to figure out how they're going to create the complicated chips to make their manufacturing sector work. Because if none of the robots work, none of the machines that they use in order to make things work, like obviously you can kind of see how that, and it's like you kind of don't really know, like, well, so-and-so sell them chips? Do they even have chips? Like where would I find that information if I wanted to see who might want to possibly sell them smart chips? Are we really the Western world the only people that can sell those kind of chips? It's just kind of questions like that to where it's like, how good or bad are they? How much are they pumping their own kind of situation up? We've heard of the ghost cities. We've heard of all these different types of things that anything China related, I'm just like, I don't know if it's smoke and mirrors. I'm going to just wait till the water settles and we'll find out soon enough, I guess.
We'll find out next time.
I agree with that.
Ball Z.
It's still interesting for me to talk about, I think. I think it's interesting, like what's going on in China. I think in probably like a month or so, they'll definitely ban Bitcoin again. So we don't got to worry about it.
Yeah, they are they're hot or they're cold. That's what I'll say about China. They're hot or they're cold. And yeah. I don't know if that's like their way of like, they're like, oh, quantitative easing, what's that? We just put out a radio blast and say it's banned. Like, I don't know. But yeah, things are different in China. That's for sure. That's where I'll leave that. Things are different over there. I'm trying to understand. But let's keep it moving. The next topic that we had, we're going to keep it on macro topics, is again the FOMC meeting today. The FOMC meeting happened today. CPI data came out yesterday. So for those that don't know, actually we'll run it by the infinite. We're going to run it by our residential normie first. What was the CPI data as far as inflation?
Isn't it something like 7% or something like that? Yeah.
You can't just say 7%.
I don't know what the CPI information is.
No, you're accurate, but you're like almost like okay. Well, it was projected to be 7.3%. Ooh, it came out to be 7.1%. Ooh, dang, that's spicy. That was the difference in the CPI data. So people were like initially kind of like sentiment in terms of journalism was initially like, and this is like people in outlets was initially like, oh, this is kind of bear or bullish, it's already priced in and this and that. And then today came with the Fed, FOMC meeting and jump out. They're like, yeah, we're gonna hike another 50 basis points, which everybody was already saying was going to happen, and we're bullish about yesterday, basically, and before. And then it happened, and people were like, actually, let's just reverse a little bit in terms of the market.
Yeah, Powell actually started talking, and then it was just like, oh yeah, we still have a little ways to go with this fucking rate hike.
That's right. Realism says that even if it raises, he's gonna keep raising it.
And he always says a bunch of mixed shit because he doesn't want to scare the market. So, and he also doesn't want to pump the market. This is what I hear. So, who knows?
Pump it up.
I think that I think the Fed is just annoying, but I think that there's a lot of people calling for a recession, so they don't want to like. He also he said that we're not in a recession right now, which technically we're not. A lot of people calling for a recession next year, and yeah, everything was all good until he started to actually say things. But yeah, everyone knew that it was going to be 50 basis points, and I think that they're gonna. He said, oh yeah, the other thing that scared people is that he said he wanted inflation to be 2%. So that's 7.1%, and he said he wants to get us all the way down to 2% inflation, which means that there will be a lot more rate hikes. They might not be 75 basis points, but they will continue. They will continue. That's what the market's thinking. So,
I think these numbers right here kind of play into exactly what you're saying, and I feel like this is part of the speculation game. Then with that. Where like yes, the market's saying sentiment's like okay, so then it's going to keep going up. I only think it's going to go up so much higher. Previously in the year, and then for the vast majority of the year, he said somewhere around 4.5 or something like that %. As far as like basis point, how many points we're going to go up or percents, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Should they go over that, that would be like one more meeting. And then they went up like one more meeting to like meet with their current like where people are like, oh, but what if it didn't? I'm like, okay, so one more month, and then you pretty much got like what's been like said for like years as like the target, and like even most recently as like the target. Seems like that's probably the target. And then when we look at this on screen, and they're saying at the beginning of I might have moved it. No, it didn't. Okay, so yeah, Fed interest rates stood at 0% in January of 2022. Again, this is my speculation how I'm like saying this, but if it was 0% then, and then we're seeing some type of change already and stuff like that, and it takes a while for that change to happen. It's not an instant change when some of this stuff happens. It's going to take some months. It's like in 2020 when screaming like Chicken Little and stuff like that, like yo, inflation's going wild, and people were like, shut up, Smurf. And then I was like, watch, if some type of bad event happens, it's gonna like everything's gonna go crazy. And then we got that C word that happened, and exactly that thing happened. You started printing like never before, and this and that, and inflation went much more rampant than it already was going, because it was already bad. If you're paying attention to inflation and stacking year over year, it's not great. There are some years where they had 0% inflation, stuff like that, but most of the time we get some actual inflation year over year, and that's compounding, folks. That's what's called compounding inflation. But yeah, point is, if it started at 0% and we're already up like all these basis point hikes, and it takes some time, then it should start to like, and they started to see some type of reversal before. It should just be a matter of like giving it some of that time, giving it a little breathing room. And apparently it's about a year behind. Like I would say that the true bull market was hitting about a year after 2020. And then they started doing these the quantitative tightening early this year. And so, give it like a year or so before we really start to see the effects of that. And then the effects of that will really start taking hold. And so, yeah, by the time we got to like 2%, I don't think it will be like 2023, 2024, probably. Right. something like that. The way this is going, but it seems about right. Like, it don't seem fishy to me, and just doing like general estimations, and like it's like, yeah, it's guesswork and stuff, but it's often correct. It's also like, it's also some psychology and like how people feel about things, and if things are actually doing that. So yeah, long-winded go at CPI data. Yeah, this is what the charts did today. This is what no, it already hurt me earlier this week, where it was like, nope, I'm not going short anymore. And I was like, you're not going short anymore. It just skyrocketed up. And then I didn't even want to jump in today. I was like, I bet it's going to crash. But you know what? I'm scorned. You hurt me earlier this week. I'm not jumping in this train. I know I could jump in before 11:30 p.m. Pacific or a.m. Pacific and make some good gains. I know. I'm not going to.
I think that sentiment kind of speaks towards maybe what they're doing is working. Basically, everything that I listen to about this specific topic is like, it's what needs to be done. It needs to raise. People need to stop throwing their money at stupid projects and stupid things. And, hey, everybody, caution is an emotion. It is a way that you could approach the world. And we would like you to exercise that caution. It's like the general sentiment. Yeah. Just please stop borrowing money at 0% and throwing it at whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you hard. Like, please, like, stop all the foolishness. And I think, to some degree, it seems like it's working, but, as one of the dudes that I listen to, he's always like, but those damn bulls, like they won't fucking quit, like you don't buy every bottom. Like, it's just not always a good idea. It's not always a good idea. And it's like, and he's like, he kind of mentions the whole like, hey man, like maybe, you have all these people who can make money off the pump, and so they keep pumping. And it's like we have to destroy those people. Is kind of his sentiment. And I'm like, oh, okay,
cool. Yeah, feel it. Another thing on like the China, like really quickly on that. Like, remember I was reading an article. I want to say maybe early fall or late summer. It was talking about inflation and how the Chinese government was kind of preparing their people and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, you guys should like stock up on like canned goods and stuff like that now so that you don't have to buy it with inflation. And I'm like, really? That's some good financial advice. Like, yo, can we get that over here? Can they like stop being like, it's not guys?
The problem with that,
inflation.
Like, that's how you end up with the toilet paper crisis at the beginning of the C word, like to where it's like, where everybody's like, we're not going to have any toilet paper. And everybody rushes to the store and they buy all the toilet paper and they're like, there's no toilet paper. So it's like, yeah, that sentiment's good. But at the same time, like it creates its own problems, which makes this kind of situation always so funky.
Are you saying like, China has more canned goods than us?
I mean, would you doubt that? I mean, would you doubt that though?
China's making all the canned goods, okay?
Yeah, would you doubt it though? Like, it's like, what of ours isn't made in China for real? Like, it's starting to change, but honestly.
All right. Off the China topic. We're gonna go over to another C word that's been big this week, and this is like more of it's still a macro topic because this is just a C word that's been big. It might be affecting your job already. It's certainly affecting mine. Actually, I'm just saying that, but maybe it is. I don't know. That's put it up on screen here. Chat GPT. You guys heard about Chat GPT?
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah,
sounds scary.
What about you, Normie? Have you heard about Chat GPT?
I have not.
Internet people are going to get you. Chat GPT is this new open. I think it's open source. Open AI, that's what they call it. I'm like, does that mean it's open source? But it's an AI program that people have been using. Free software that released only so many days ago. I think it's still within its first 7 days of like public release or something like that. I want to say it's really early here. And yeah, you can go ahead and ask that AI a question and it does all sorts of crazy things. I've seen tweets where people are, being like, yo, ChatGPT, can you make a rap about whatever the heck? Like, make a rap about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but do it in an old-timey English voice. And like the AI will write it out like, here's the vine peanut butter, like blah, blah, blah. Like, it'll do whatever type of freaky thing you ask it to do. People are asking it to just like write like there's threads on Twitter. So big informational posts that are, threaded. People are like, yeah, ChatGPT, can you write a thread on this topic? Thing will write out a thread on a topic. Like perfectly fine. Write out different threads on the same topic. Write it in different ways depending on how you wanted to write it. Write it kind of edgy if you wanted to write it edgy. Do code. So give people the answers to code and stuff like that. Just write a program for them. People are using it in YouTube videos and stuff like that, and just writing full code programs and stuff like that. Like, yo, look, I told this thing to do this, and it just did it. It's like, oh wow. So the future is here. Chat GPT. I'm probably gonna try it out. I'm gonna try it out on some type of. I'm gonna be very degen about this in the sense of I'm gonna treat it like. I'm gonna treat it like they might rug pull me. I can get rug pulled any moment. So I'm gonna use a different email from a different device with a different IP address. I'm gonna do all the things. It's not gonna be me.
You use a VPN, cuz
Doing everything. It won't be me interacting with this thing, so you don't have my information. But I'm gonna play around with it. Let's go get this stuff going. Yeah, be safe. But I'm interested. It sounds cool. Sounds cool. I can't wait to see what I do as a non-Smurf.
I mean, if you want comments on this, it's like, if Skynet's going to get us, Skynet's going to get us.
At least you can have your toast one time first, right?
Yeah, so it's like, there's no bad feelings. It's just like, hey, man, if robots take over, like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm not fighting the Terminator. All right. I'm a running high.
You said the cattle ranch? The cattle ranch sounds good. It sounds good. Sounds good. I'm gonna get one of those cool showers. Like no.
I honestly, I just hate when people fight stuff like this. It's coming. All right. If you don't think that you don't want a robot in your house flipping your pancakes, you do mistaken. You are mistaken. If you don't think you want a personal robot walking through your house having conversations,
we just need to make EMPs commonplace. Then it's like the same way we got a fire extinguisher in the house. We need an EMP blast.
It's just one of those things though that I hate when people fight it, because it's like, you want that. You want that. You want to look at your boy and be like, hey man, robot P50, I'm gonna need you to go get those cookies.
Yeah, nobody saw Benchwarmers and was like, I don't want those sandwiches.
Boss, I got you. And it's like he just takes off. Comes back. They're all neatly packed. He didn't can you the pack. He like put it out on a napkin. He's like, I knew you wanted milk. You didn't have to ask for that. You look at that boy, you be like,
it's Chat GPT as the robot, and it's just getting smart. It's like, look, Chat GPT about to become her out here. Somebody's done already did it. They're like, hey, remember the movie Her? Become that right now as your own digital identity. Do whatever you got to do, and it just goes out there, writes its own program, starts surviving. It's using people's computers to do proxies, stuff like that, hiding in their mobile.
All those hard video games to where you used to hand the controller to your older bro. Hey man, Bob 50, you need to handle this. They was talking shit. You need to handle this, bro. Like, yes, me, for real. I'm gonna be talking shit. You gonna be doing the moves, motherfucker. Like quit signing. Like, everybody knows that's gonna happen, and they want it.
Terrible.
You want it.
I can't.
You want it. You want it. You all want it. Just stop fronting.
I can't believe you went there.
What is it, Satoshi?
Can't believe you totally went there with letting the bot play the game for you. That just goes too far. This is a travesty.
Like,
this can't happen.
You know for a fact, bro. You know for a fact it would happen.
I might let the bot train some Pokemon for me. That'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool. But you can't call him Bob or Bob. He has to have a cool name.
It's gonna stop playing video games. They're gonna be like, I'm basically playing the game, but I'm telling the bot to do everything.
Like, imagine all these games that make you want to grind. Like, hey, I just want you to play the same moment over and over. Hey, man. Hey, Bob, come here, bro. Handle my light work, man. Press the A button 30 times.
For a few hours.
I just need that from you. All right, when I come back, I should be level 90. All right. And if I'm not, Bob, we're gonna have some conversations. I'm videotaping your ass.
I love the idea of having my own personal AI assistant thing, that I can tell to, do this research for me or something, or look into this and give me the cliff notes on it or something, So I think that we'll get there. We sure will. I don't know how long it'll take, but there are some interesting AI blockchain projects out there that are working on stuff like that. So definitely look at those. They're starting to kind of get back out there in the narrative. Also, I think privacy coins are going to be an interesting narrative eventually. Yeah, and I'm not even read up on privacy coins. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what these bots help me do with coding and stuff like that. I've always been such an amateur coder where it's like, I'm like, look, I can research things, I can tell you what to do, but at some point, connecting all the dots and stuff like that, I can read it, but knowing what goes in what order sometimes is a little difficult. I'm sure I'll get there in time, but it'll be nice then. So I'm excited to see what happens with that, where I like try to use some, and I'm like, wow, if it like actually lets me like become like proficient in like creating some ideas and stuff like that, and like just researching the code and putting it, that's gonna be pretty awesome. That's gonna be pretty like, yeah, format this for me because I know it's wrong. Here's the correct. Thank you, man. I'll like write like 2 lines of code and then like write something in like just normal English syntax. Like, this is supposed to be an entire video game platform. Like this? Okay. Not that far. But be nice. Moving forward, some of our last topics of the day. I feel like this is a good macro. It's kind of macro. It's kind of DeFi. I could also put up this one right here. For like more of a DeFi thing, because it's also DeFi, but top ETH whales buying whales with an S, buying Matic, Polygon. Will Matic price surge? Usually whales, you know, you're saying it. It's again, Elizabeth, if you cannot track these drug lords and we can track the top Polygon ETH whales like this, like, you know, just some journalists is out there like, I would like to get a few views on something finally. What about the Polygon ETH whales? Like, yeah, come on. Don't make our government sound that bad. We can track them. We can figure out who it is. And then they have to take it off chain. They're not just sitting with it. Not if they want to re-up. Elizabeth. Okay. But yeah, this is an interesting story to me. I mean, we've talked about Polygon quite a bit recently, and I'm bullish on Polygon, honestly. As a gaming blockchain and as a that thing. And then I guess there's also the whole, you know, them trying to become more of a DAO and them trying to use ZK technology. Those would be some cool nerd selling points. But their DAO is still going to be pretty centralized, like what we just talked about earlier. So I don't want to get into that too much. But yeah, I'm generally bullish on Polygon for what it can do.
I like Polygon, but look them in the DAO.
Yeah, here are the things that I don't like as well. There's some cons, you know. You got to know what you're dealing with. So yeah. Any sentiments toward this with whales movement? Should be a quick one.
Well, yeah, I definitely think that Polygon has way too much positive news for you to not be looking at it. You're going to keep hearing about it more and more because they're just making partnerships with everybody. So that's how it is. So it's like sometimes you don't get to choose, you know, the blockchain that you use, but Polygon is going to be one of them eventually.
As it was said in the earlier part of the podcast, Red Band and Method Band, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar.
They got it.
If the money's there, they'll do their best to make sure that it works.
Yeah, they will.
That's just the bottom line. It's like, you think
Disney
they're gonna lose
make
our money?
sure of it.
Yeah. It's like
they have Miss Mickey gonna bust up in the office if they're fucking up. What's up?
What's up? Heard you guys weren't getting along with Polygon. Oh.
Where's that ZK Sync? All right, Mickey. Talking about ZK Sync, Mickey. All right, I thought this is a little fun one to put in here. And some alpha for folks. You know, we like to get some alpha on our shows. Top 10 coins, especially if you made it this long. Top 10 coins by daily GitHub development activity. So if anybody out there is listening, and I'd be really surprised if you were listening and you had no idea what GitHub is, but it's a place where you upload code. And since a lot of blockchain projects are open source, where they upload their code and you can make requests, or you can basically contribute to these different projects publicly via GitHub. So people can also see what information, what's happening, and how things work by visiting a GitHub repository. So that's what GitHub is for anybody. Just wanted to explain that. In case anybody's like, what the hell? I always hear about GitHub. There it is. Now we're going to look at the top 10 coins in terms of who's still building. This is another way of framing it. Who's still building in the bear market? These projects have not stopped building. And so even if you're not seeing headlines about them, chances are they are making something somewhat cool or doing some type of upgrade. Even if it's not cool, they're doing some type of upgrade and they're preparing for some type of narrative and some type of marketing push. That's what you got to, that's the takeaway. They're going to do some type of marketing push, like flat out. They're not going to be doing upgrades unless they're going to be pushing it out. And so at some point, they're going to have some type of turnaround. It can be really small. It can be large. Who knows? It depends on the scale of like what they're doing and what you find out about them. But that's why we're covering these ones today. Who's number one on the list? What up, Alex? Satoshi shaking his head. Sorry, I'm talking to you, Mr. Becker. I do go out to eat.
Pretty bullish for Cardano. So you're basically telling us that your girlfriend's boyfriend does not live with you in your house.
Yeah, he moved out months ago.
I made some good decisions. Believe in me.
When'd you hear about Chad anyways? Anyways,
interesting.
Cardano at the top of this list.
Pretty bullish. That's pretty bullish for Cardano. I'll give it that. I heard a pretty interesting story about Cardano or the other day that I didn't get to look into, so I don't know if it's true or not, but they're supposed to be like making another blockchain, I think, or another like a side protocol or something. Interesting.
And they already have one, so it is interesting.
Now they got two.
Yeah, Cardano be on those moves.
You need those, man. They got so many people who are on Cardano, dude. A lot of people got Cardano.
I'm over there. I am over there.
Very, very, very prominent and popular. And I still.
And the cool thing about Cardano is there's not a lot of people that are on Cardano that are like crazy degens like that. Like the most degen thing that you're probably going to find on Cardano is like NFTs and like the more like community-based NFT projects and stuff like that. Like if it's a farm on Cardano or a yield project, I'll say more accurately on Cardano, chances are it's a little bit more serious where you're doing some type of borrowing and lending or whatever, or if it is aggregating yield, it's for the purpose of like building an actual strong DEX on the blockchain. There's not a lot of like just BS going on that's gonna even attract you to Cardano or like so I just haven't seen a lot of it. I know more recently there's been a lot with like their JED token. I think that's how Charles said it last time I listened to him, like JED, like so you like it's like DGED or something like that, but I think you don't say the first D. But it's the stable coin, and it's an algorithmic stable coin. So you know how I feel about algorithmic stable coins. I don't like them. But I respect Charles. And Charles was like really excited about this. So it's gonna be really sad when you get your heart broken. You and Justin Sun can make like a little pity party or something like that. Your algorithmic stablecoin projects did like I don't know. Maybe they'll do fine. Maybe this will be the one. Maybe they'll both be the one. But USDD's already depegged like twice. So whatever. But it's not to say there's some other thing with that before I go. It's not to say that like whenever there's something about tokens depegging, because this is just something that like I feel often and I have to get off my chest. And United States dollar depegs, fam. Like we out here talking about it being 104 points, 105 points currently. Oh, it maxed to like 115 or something like that recently. Dang. Oh, before that it was 0.89 or whatever the heck. That's a depeg.
Yeah,
that's not.
I've always thought that. I'd be like these stable coins don't depeg like the US dollar. Really
does. The United States dollar is way more volatile, bro. Why do you think these forex traders are eating like that? Real talk. Like they out here like, yo, if you know forex, it's super easy, bro. Look, this pattern ain't gonna change for. And I was saying it all bull market where I was like, bro, this thing has been going in this one direction for like a year. Like
just eating off them trades, bro, every day.
Down.
Imagine just trading every day for a year and then only up market on forex with like 125x margin. What the fuck? Those are the real games.
Really easy.
Those
really
easy. They do make it look.
I'm over here doing my research because it looked that easy. Like compared to like, I'm like, look, I done withered DeFi and crypto. I got the scars. I'm ready to come in to this other place.
I've been beaten. I've been burned.
Let's go.
But I made it through.
All right, continuing on this list, we got Cosmos. For people that don't know Cosmos is supposed to be similar to, I'm going to say, another cryptocurrency that's on this list that might be known by people, so a little bit more popular, Polkadot. So that's just to say that it's like this blockchain that's supposed to be all about creating other subset. I'm going to call it subsets of blockchain. That's probably not the correct terminology for it, but other subsets of blockchains, like multiple chains can do it. Similar to like what Ethereum's talking about with their parachains. Yeah, I'm like similar to like Ethereum's like sharding thing that they're talking about doing with Ethereum. It's similar to that. And so if any of that technology is overcrossing too much and you're a really big crypto nerd and you're like, how dare you get it? It's similar enough. And I'm trying to like, I know it's not the exact thing. I'm trying to connect it, make it similar so people can, like Polkadot. I get it's not the same. All right. Polkadot on the list. Ethereum. We're not going to talk about Ethereum. Clayton. I believe Clayton's a proof of work blockchain. So old hat, but that's a proof of work blockchain that's in here. They're probably the only one on this list, honestly. Yep. Internet computer. So I remember when that popped up on the scene and did numbers for whatever reason. I don't know what the hell status is, but maybe figure out what that is. Decentraland, Web3, blockchain gaming, metaverse. So yeah, when you're thinking about the different metaverse projects, who's still building in this bear market, they're talking about nobody's active on Decentraland, yada yada yada. Decentraland apparently is building more so than any of these other metaverses. Somnium, anything on Gala, Sandbox, World Wide Web, more than any of these other metaverses is
there aren't any other metaverse tokens on there at all. Just Decentraland.
Yeah, Decentraland. That's the one. Also Elrond. So there's that. And then the last one, Filecoin, in the storage space. And so there's BTT in the storage space. There's Siacoin in the storage space. There's Filecoin, which we're talking about here. And Filecoin is more so like ISPF. What is it? Yeah, there you go. They have to do with that. And so like that's just to say that like I think if Filecoin, this is speculation. You can go get some data on this, but like if Filecoin's in this list, it's probably because more and more of these projects want their stuff to be truly decentralized and hosted in a decentralized manner, which means you want some Filecoin, or you want to host it via one of these type of mechanisms. So Filecoins, the Siacoins, the BTTs, I think all this is like a sign that they're probably going to have their run. And Filecoin might be the one that's leading the innovation then.
Yeah, I would definitely pay attention to that list if they're actually developing shit. Then, especially in this atmosphere in this market, then there'll probably be something of value later, something useful, hopefully.
I feel like at the end of that statement, I need to be like, "Peep game, son. Peep game."
We're about to say that. We want to say it right now. Hold on. Let me see. Is this the right chart? Is the right chart? I had to go to that magic token. I had to try to go to token. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is the right one.
No, you definitely want like the 7 day. The 7 day chart.
I didn't like. This is Coinbase. I don't know if I want Coinbase. I don't know what it looks like even though, but
I don't either. I haven't looked at the chart, but
because I'm like this might be the right magic. This might not. We just know about the name and what we cover. The point being that last week, during the show, this is our alpha period of the show. Last week we covered this magic token that's part of the Treasure DAO ecosystem, and the token pumped. I think it pumped like over 80% or something like that. It was a pretty big pump, and we were like kind of covering it, being like, "Yo, it's looking kind of bullish, as a project that's building in the bear market and doing this other stuff, and it's about gaming and it's about this whole new narrative on Arbitrum, and that's the last thing that we're gonna cover today." And so was something to pay attention to. And so I don't know if this is the right chart for it, but token is magic. And it was really just to pat ourselves on the back and be like, we be covering some alpha. So that list is probably something to pay attention to that we just went through. Go ahead and rewind the stream.
That was the right token. And I'm pretty sure that it was 60 cents last week, and it went up to 93 cents. And now it's came back down to about 60 cents. So you got a good pump out of it from last week.
I'm gonna show some blockchain stats here as we roll out and go on to our last tweet topic of the day. One other thing that I'll just give a head nod to really quickly is Illuvium is doing some new private beta testing thing. So shout out to Illuvium. Blockchain game looks awesome. It's like a Pokemon type of game, open world, multiplayer. The way that you interact with the different battles in the game is similar to how you do raid dungeons in Pokemon. So you're running around the map, and then you like come across a raid dungeon. You pop in there with your squad versus whatever the hell's in the dungeon. You fight it out. Otherwise, you're back in the open world portion of the game. So looks pretty cool. But on to these stats. Just wanted to make sure I gave Alluvium the shout out for that, because we do be covering blockchain games and whatnot over here. Stats of the blockchain today. MakerDAO still number one. Lido, this top 10 looks pretty similar. You can see that PancakeSwap fell down from glory. This is actually pretty. Does that see 2 billion? That's a pretty big fall. They were like 2 billion plus like a week ago. What's up with the swings there, man? So that's interesting.
Somebody moving that money.
Like maybe it's something to do with like the move to Aptos or something. I don't know. But Pancake, that's what I want to cover. Pancake specifically is that they are on Aptos. They've been on Aptos for a while too, but I think everything wasn't up and going. And I still think there's portions of it that still need to be up, like yield farming and stuff like that. But the swapping and pools, I believe, are active now on Aptos. And for people that didn't know, yes, Ethereum or PancakeSwap is also on Ethereum now. So they're trying to become big boy level.
I didn't know Pancake was on Ethereum.
Man, my buddy was just telling me that the other day.
I need to do some
what?
bridging.
Yeah, I think that to get over there. No, is it Stargate? No, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm about to try to use the Stargate bridge.
Stargate's
later.
legit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like it a lot. I might actually use that.
Yeah, I'm about to use that in a bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What else? Well, I wanted to show DeFi specifically over here. So, and if you haven't seen DeFi Llama before, maybe it's your first time tuning into this this show, Trustless Degens, where we cover this like last week and stuff. Yeah, we go to this all the time. So, DeFiLlama.com, get all sorts of cool information. Today we're gonna be looking at the chains. So I'm gonna click chains that we were looking at overview in terms of different projects before. So this is specific to blockchains themselves, and some of these are EVM compatible, aka they run on like pretty much the same technology as Ethereum, and some of them are different. Our focus today is going to be on number 4, Arbitrum, who has passed Polygon in the list, passed Avalanche. It's been a nice little run up. If you were watching our shows about a month or two ago, Arbitrum was all the way down here, and it's just been steady climbing this list, passing everybody up here. There is no Arbitrum token yet, though. There's speculation that there will be an airdrop similar to how there was on Optimism, and people made a few $1,000s on that airdrop, so that potentially on this airdrop, you need to get certain tokens on Arbitrum to be eligible for this. People are speculating, but yeah, 21% change in TVL locked over here within 1 month, 149 apps. It just seems to be the new hotness. So we're going to check into Arbitrum, and I have this little thread here talking about Arbitrum from a DeFi threader who's going to run us through some interesting projects and plays. First, shout out to my favorite play over there. And I'm not even doing it right. I need to do it better. I'm holding a little GMX and, being a DJ with some trades on occasion. But GMX, shout out to GMX. It's a pretty cool DEX. It's what I wanted at the beginning of the last bull market, but it didn't exist in DeFi at the time. And now it does. And so I'm giving it that shout out, GMX. Uniswap V3, pretty cool. Liquidity tokens paired as NFTs. So that's just pretty cool in general. Stargate, we were just talking about that. Anything else on this list that's actually interesting to me? No, but I did hear that, further down this list, there's starting to be some more Degen projects and stuff like that popping up over here. Degens are hopping over here, other than because first were the really serious projects, these ones. And now there's becoming some more Degen farms and stuff like that. So it just seems like everything's maybe moving over to Arbitrum. It's something to pay attention to in terms of gains. And when we look at this TVL locked, you can see we had the spike up here, it came down, and then look, it's still up and to the right. And it looks pretty healthy to me. And it doesn't look like this doesn't look that healthy. That's like a pretty significant spike up. This looks really healthy into the right. Be interesting to see that just turn an opposite direction for whatever reason. But looking good to me. Yeah. Any comment on those stats before we go through some of these Arbitrum projects?
Nope.
Nobody.
I don't know anything about Arbitrum, and I should.
Yeah, Arbitrum, optimistic Ethereum 2, a layer 2. So it's about the same price as like a Binance Smart Chain or something like that, but it's more secure than Binance because it's a layer 2 of Ethereum. Boom, said it. Arbitrum is arguably the most promising chain right now. You either ignore it or leverage it for, what are these things? A thread on the 360% view of Arbitrum. Airdrop opportunities, alphas, and promising gems. That could 100x. Yep. I think all that's possible here. So yeah, quick thread here. We're just gonna go through this guy Victor DeFi's thread. Check him out. He's a really good threader, which is why I'm sharing him today. And we're gonna go through this thing quickly. I want to give you guys more so to the opportunities. Yeah, 300 projects. Is it 300? Oh, man.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah, pretty big ecosystem there.
Mhm.
Look, maybe they have like a games or something like that, or other more fun things. A lot of stablecoin projects, payments, others, liquidity, lending. Again, I'm like, yeah, it's very serious in terms of like actual financial things, fixing issues. And then they do have some NFT projects here. So I'm not seeing a game section, but more so NFTs if you're looking for community things and maybe one of those branches in the games. Don't know. But yeah, the serious is over here. This is often how it starts before games end up on any platform anyways, though, is the financial structure gets built out first. So technology on Arbitrum, how it works. We're not going to go through this. It's basically talking about the optimistic thing. We did that for a whole stream before, so go find that one. What else do we have here? Arbitrum airdrops. We talked about that. We also have this exact tweet in Money Match Gaming's Discord and our crypto announcements channel. So join that. And, check that you want to be part of our crypto announcements, because I drop all sorts of crazy alpha and stuff like this all the time, like including this thread. What you got for me, bro? I'm looking for something. DopeX. Here we go. Here's the first one. Here's the first one of the promising gems. DopeX. Like if you're in crypto Twitter, you're hearing about this lately. Very similar to GMX, but it's that much earlier. And I have to look at the white paper to figure out all the tokenomics and stuff like that on it. But basically, by holding these tokens, similar to GMX. Yes, as typically GMX fork. But yeah, holding the GMX token, you basically and like depositing in the right place, you get Ethereum from people trading and stuff. So it's a good way to get a nice APY and straight up Ethereum. And then the token is also like GMX is one of the few tokens that's been bullish this entire time. And so the token is also going up. And I'm not sure if you remember Satoshi from that episode where we did what tokens are actually surviving, like when everything was straight up bloodbath. GMX is one of these tokens that was like, "What's up, fam? Pumped up." So yeah, DopeX, pay attention.
I said for sure. Yeah, GMX
sure,
has been pretty popular these last few months.
Yeah, Rage Trade here. So don't know much about this one, but I can, from what they say here, GLP vaults. Letting you guys know without having to do that research yourself. GLP is in reference to a token in the GMX ecosystem. So basically, house money in the GMX ecosystem is the GLP token and GLP liquidity pairs. It's similar to like a stable coin type of pair, but they don't call it that. But yeah, it's basically the other side of the bet. And so when people lose money on GMX, it goes into their system and stuff like that. And if you're a GLP staker or liquidity provider, I should say, then you're making monies. Of course, GMX people also make the monies, but yeah, it's going to GLP. So there's that in a nutshell. And this is saying delta neutral strategies on GLP vaults. So you're playing both sides. There is a situation where GLP people like are kind of more at risk, and so I guess this is neutraling that out, playing both sides of the market in a sense. Excalibur, more of a like not a DGen play, but a DEX borrowing and lending platform over on Arbitrum. Been hearing a lot about that lately. So yeah, I see he has that there. Umami, if you haven't heard of Umami, man, he's got it right there too. I was gonna be like, it's part of the real yield narrative lately in a crypto blockchain and DeFi. So real yield just means that instead of like the yields coming from straight up token emissions of the token, which a lot of projects use, and like, oh, it's got governance token value, that thing Vitalik was talking about. Instead of that being the case, the yields are coming more so from actual economic value. So people, either buying into the product in some type of way or doing transactions, there being fees. But that's where the yield is coming. The yield is being calculated from actual fees and economic activity within that ecosystem that then goes to reward people that are providing liquidity for it. And so in that sense, the yield doesn't come from anything of like an inflationary model. It's like you're just getting paid on something. So that's in terms of real yield. Umami doing stuff in that category. Jones DAO is another leverage borrowing lending marketplace. Oh, actually, they're like a meta vault. So I want to say they're actually more like a Yearn Finance on yeah, it says MetaVault there. Bro, Smurf be in it. I'll be clicking on these and then just thought this guy had a good thread. I'm in here. Write this thread. Yeah, MetaVault just means like Yearn. It's like an index fund. So another way of thinking about that, you buy one asset, basically, it's going around, it's finding the best yields for you in the space, and you only have to be a part of this one position to do that. That's what MetaVaults do. And it's a DAO, and so the voting for what assets it's going after are being essentially chosen. Of course, the team might own a larger portion of the DAO, as we've kind of discussed before. So not going into that too much more, but there's some hotness for you. Think anything else on this? I think that's the last one. I think that's the last one. Boom. I mean, those are the ones on my list, honestly. I wasn't sure what he's going to have on the list, but those are ones that are really on my list as far as like things you should be checking in on. And that kind of wraps up our topics for the day. Kind of wraps up our topics today. We have quite a few topics. Yeah. What are the chances of you getting on Arbitrum after this, Infinite?
Pretty high for me.
You say you're all in?
I did like the sound of MetaVaults, though. That does sound like something. That
I'm working for a MetaVault project.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're not a MetaVault ourselves, but we're utilizing MetaVaults. Yeah. Yeah, honk our horn a little bit. Satoshi got a little. He got some of the bullish fever earlier this week.
I've been asking some questions. Asking some questions.
Doing some big things.
Yeah, that sounds legit. It sounds legit. It's like I understand that there's definitely money to be made. I just don't want to run that rat race. Okay, I'm a normie. Stab me now. I get it. There's definitely gains to be made. It's just
it has to be on the Senate floor.
It's like, bro, like I completely get it, man. It's just at the same time, I'm like, man, I get home from work, I'm doing my daughter's homework. Hey, man, that is not there's no the in that sentence, girl. Like, come on, it's just, I'm just taking it day by day, man. Doing our MMG shit. And
look, you need to show her ChatGPT so she can blow her teachers' minds. Like, dang, man, where you start doing this?
No.
We thought Spark Notes was the move.
And, having a daughter is scary. I don't know how to feel, man. I didn't grow up with sisters. I wasn't blessed like you were. So it's like, I feel like you have that energy and you kind of grew up with it, and you tangle with the idea of like, how much do I need to protect my sister versus, nah, she cool. She gonna make her own mistakes. And I'm now learning that, like, the whole, do you have to dress that way? Do you really? Do you be looking at your mom and she'd be like, no, it's fine. All little girls wear bikinis. And you're like, do they? Do they though? Do they?
Out of this house. Like, out of this house.
No. Sometimes, man, they be fighting hard, man. They be making like good arguments. Lance, you're tall. She's tall. She don't fit these onesies the way they need to be fitted. And I'll be like, for real? And then they put her in it and they'd be like, I guess that does look a little, you're just like, Lance, ain't nobody looking. And it's like, why are you lying to me? Why are you lying to me, man? Come on, man. Play with my feelings, man. And my daughter be like, Dad, you really not going? I'll be like, you can get the damn bikini, but that's life. All right. This life. I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. Y'all bring it out.
I think that we should ask the DAO if we should ban bikinis.
For little girls? Yeah.
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 DAO voting is the way to go. DAO voting might solve that. There was one thing that I forgot to cover. I'll just mention it really quickly, which was that PayPal announced an integration with MetaMask. PayPal finally, I didn't even read it because I was like, I don't even care. Y'all so late to the game, but maybe they're finally allowing people to transfer the crypto that they bought on PayPal off. Wouldn't that be amazing? Because you couldn't do that before.
It would also be interesting if you could use your MetaMask to pay for shit on like eBay or like on other shit that's connected to PayPal.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work exactly. Need to do more research.
If you could sell your Ethereum through MetaMask on PayPal, that would be legit.
Yeah, I was hearing that like you could use the PayPal, different things from crypto Twitter. So I was like, you know what? This sounds nice. I'm going to need a little bit more information than this. Interesting to see where they go with it. Thus far, they've only disappointed me, so I'm not giving my hopes up. But,
yeah, PayPal's still in the doghouse. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. Any closing comments from the cast today, crew?
No, it's nice seeing everybody. hearing the different perspectives, you know. And I hope I'm one of the cool normies. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying attention. It's just I'm
At
just
least you're
not,
trying to learn, you know. That's what I feel like. I feel like people
I'm
should
just
pay
not investing.
attention. People,
That's pretty much what it comes down to.
you don't have to invest to learn necessarily. You know, it's you don't never wanna
And you ain't got to lie to kick it.
investing is just like one part of this whole mess that's going on here.
Oh
So,
shit.
there are definitely other things to do, but definitely just like pay attention to things that you hear, like if you hear something like 3 times or more, like just go figure out what it is.
For
'Cause
sure.
it's
I
going
get to
down.
answer crypto questions too.
It's starting to go down right now. Like people are starting to figure out what the next narratives are going to be. I think.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's right about where I'm like, bro, we might have, and it sounds like a long period of time. I'm like, we might have like 6 more months of like where it just feels like bearish, like it actually feels bearish. But I think after like that 6-month period or so, we're gonna start, if nothing else, start to really enter a time of people being like, yeah, these narratives are starting to take off. Like in like the anticipation around that is going to be enough for things to start to change, and then we're going to be coming up on a Bitcoin happening, and I think that's really going to like start to change. So it's like there's going to be anticipation from these new narratives that are starting to take form. Some unexpected things, and then the Bitcoin happening narrative will start to creep into people's heads, and it's going to be nothing. It can't help but be bullish in that sense. So that's what I'm anticipating. But all right, that'll do for tonight, y'all. Thank you for joining us for another week of Trustless Degens, the show where we talk about all things happening on the blockchain, all things Web3, and insert buzzword here. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Do say.
Goodbye.
Deuce.
Goodbye.